Got this U.S. fighter jet that shot down an unidentified object over Lake Huron this weekend on orders from the president. It is believed to be the same object that was tracked over Montana and then monitored by the federal government. This is the fourth object shot out of the sky by U.S. fighter jets in the last 8 days. Look at this map here. The president said he acted out of an abundance of caution, and officials say it's the first time in U.S. history that they've had to shoot things out of the sky like that. Joining us now to talk about this story as it continues to develop is our reporter in Washington, D.C., Doug Luzader. Doug, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so are these latest incidents linked in any way to Beijing's espionage program? I mean, what's going on?
We don't know. And the Pentagon, if the Pentagon knows, they're not saying. I mean, we know more about the first one than any of the other three. That first one, the search continues for the debris after it was shot down off the coast of South Carolina. These other three, you know, the Pentagon doesn't even like the word balloon. They're just referring to them as objects. So we're still, I suppose, in the process of learning more about them. You know, they're shot down in kind of difficult areas, one would imagine, to retrieve materials from Alaska, Canada, Lake Huron. But the investigation continues to determine where these came from. Did they come from China? Did they come from somewhere else? But, you know, another overarching question here is, do these kinds of things happen all the time in terms of objects like these flying overhead, and we're just taking more notice of them now?
I was wondering the same thing. I mean, now we have drones in the air. There's all kinds of things. I mean, what is the political impact of these types of incidents that we're dealing with right now?
Well, it depends where they came from. I mean, as far as the first one is concerned, you know, there's a lot of confidence that came from China. In fact, China admits that it's theirs. They say it was just for meteorological observations, essentially a weather balloon. The U.S. says no, that it has had some sophisticated equipment to monitor communications and so on and transmit some of that information back. And it was somewhat steerable. It could kind of, you know, it wasn't just, you know, beholden to the winds aloft. It could move around a little bit. So much more sophisticated than what we would associate with a weather balloon. Now, you know, that was certainly enough to derail a visit from U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who was supposed to go to China, and that scuttled that trip. You know, we don't know if it's going to be rescheduled at some point. It probably is, but it does show that, look, this is a difficult relationship that we have with China right now, and this incident, or these incidents possibly, don't make that any easier.
So I guess my question is, what happens next, especially when it comes to what the military needs to do right now? And also, I mean, what are lawmakers demanding at this point?
Well, right now, lawmakers want more information, and that's a bipartisan sentiment. They want more information from the administration and from the Pentagon. There was a briefing from a NORAD official last night, but it didn't really give us much information at all. In fact, at one point, he was asked whether this could be possibly extraterrestrial, and he said, can't rule anything out, which I think just goes to show the dearth of information right now as far as at least these three latest incursions. And we say incursions, you know, we're assuming they came in from outside the country. But look, it's never been easier to launch your own aircraft, as we've seen with the prevalence of drones and so on. But having said that, you know, these are also, you know, relatively high altitude. The Chinese balloon, the first one, was at 60,000 feet. I think the one over Lake Huron was at 20,000 plus feet. And at that altitude, you know, 20 to 30,000 feet, up to 40,000 feet, you could potentially interfere with commercial navigation.
This is a wild story that we will keep following. Doug Luzader in Washington, D.C., we appreciate you. Extraterrestrial.
Not ruling anything out.
Can't rule it out.
Not rule it out. Not just yet. We thank you, Doug. Appreciate you this morning.